My grandpa is 97 years old. He lives 3,000 miles away, and I love him very much. I wanted to make sure, for my sake, for my family's sake, for the world's sake, that there was some record of him, some record of his story, a memory of the amazing man he is. Here is my journey and the roadblocks that came with it, traveling 3,000 miles to interview my grandpa. I thought doing this would be impossible. There were a couple things standing in my way. COVID restrictions, medical school, bringing literal crates of equipment across the Atlantic Ocean. So I needed to figure out how to make sure I met all these COVID regulations. I had to make sure I could take time off medical school when I'm only allowed to take off 4 days a year. And I needed to make sure I could get the gear there or have the gear there when I was ready to actually do this interview. I wanted to do a video podcast interview, a full-blown, fully kitted interview. Also, another challenge, which I didn't think of right away, is this is a pretty important task. How do I not mess it up? How do I make sure I don't come across as stupid or ask dumb questions during this interview? My grandpa is really an amazing man, and I want to make sure that I do him justice. It was likely I would mess up, even possibly fail, but I had to try. So obstacle number one was the COVID restrictions. I booked my flight. I have dual citizenship because I'm the first person of my family to actually be born in America. So that means the entire rest of my family, other than my immediate family, lives in England. That also means I got a UK passport and I also have a US passport. That made life a lot easier. I also needed a negative test within 48 hours of flying. 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I went to the airport the night before my flight and had my COVID test. It was negative. The second obstacle was medical school. Our medical school is extremely strict when it comes to missing days. I think actually a little bit too strict when it comes to missing days. We are allowed 4 total personal days for our entire 3rd year of medical school. I just think that's crazy. So he was having a birthday on Sunday. I wanted a full day to focus on the interview. That means I would probably need to fly out on Thursday night, arriving Friday morning, interview him on Saturday, have his birthday on Sunday, and then fly home on Monday. I was going to need to take 2 personal days, 50% of all of my personal days for this interview. But I was the worthy cause for sure. I formatted my request and I prayed. For days I paced and I worried that I would either get denied or have to repeat a rotation. 3 days after submitting this request, I was doing some flashcards because I'm always doing flashcards, and I received a ping on my email. I was cleared. And the third obstacle was the equipment. This is where things felt really impossible to me. I needed a whole studio, a set to record this video interview. I needed 2 high quality microphones, 2 pretty big microphone stands, 2 pretty high quality cameras, 3 camera tripods, a whole lighting setup. So I don't know, 4 or 5 lights, and then stands for all of that lighting. How was I gonna get lighting, tripods, all this equipment across the Atlantic Ocean without spending thousands and thousands of dollars? Luckily, there was a solution. As I said earlier, my entire family lives in the UK. I started thinking about who would be okay with me shipping tons of Amazon boxes to their house.
Hello?
Hey, Auntie Tanya, this is really random, but I'm coming to the UK this weekend and I'm gonna be interviewing Grandpa, and I'm wondering if you would mind if I sent you just a bunch of podcast equipment, so that would be lighting and tripods to your house. Would that be okay?
Yeah, of course. Sure.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course. It's no problem at all.
So I called my aunt, realizing that if she said no, this whole thing would be a bust. And she said, okay. Then the studio space. The hotel where my grandpa's party was in this nice fancy hotel. So as nice fancy hotels do, they have fancy kind of setup spaces. So I decided to book one of these setup spaces kind of as a interview studio. This was actually my dad's pretty good idea. So I had my 2 quality microphones already here. I had my 2 really high quality cameras here, and I just packed that into my backpack. I had all my ducks in a row, but now came the actual hard part. Now came doing the interview. I couldn't believe it was actually going to happen. I was actually gonna do this. So my flight and my journey were all set up. As the time got closer, as I talked about earlier, that more secret worry that I wasn't really thinking about me asking good or bad questions popped up. I needed to have good questions prepared. I'm asking questions for my entire family, for future generations. It's a big responsibility. So I had like a big list of questions, and when I was flying, I started to kind of look over this huge list of questions that I had and kind of picking my favorite ones, picking what I think were the most important ones. It seemed there was like themes that were coming up. What was World War II like? What was it like being in the RAF or Royal Air Force in England? How have you led such a successful life? How have you created such an amazing family? I wanted to do my family proud, do a good interview, and make sure I show the people outside of this family, the people that don't even know Eric Gergel, the greatness, the true greatness of who he is. Okay, so that's all going on in my mind when I'm flying over across the Atlantic, but the rest of the flight was pretty straightforward. You know, we landed, got our stuff together, and kind of went to the hotel. And that was Friday. And then it was Saturday, the day of the actual interview. I planned to start recording with him at like 2 p.m., but I wanted to wake up at 9 and start setting up this room because I had to unpack all of this new Amazon equipment, make sure I knew how all of it worked, and then organize it all so it looked good. Okay, getting set up now for the podcast. We have this really nice room downstairs. So now I have to turn this place into a podcast studio. And this was taking way longer than it was expected, and I was starting to get a little bit stressed out. At 10:30, all I had done is gotten the gear unpacked. So I recruited my brothers, my father, and my mom to kind of help me set this up. And this sped things up a little bit, but I still felt stressed. I still felt tight for time. But by 12 o'clock, we had set up pretty much everything. My whole mind was focused on this thing I had to do. I ran out of there, showered, I changed, I did a few other audio things. And then I just sat down in my chair, and I knew my grandpa would be coming in soon. It's about to start, just final things, but you can see the craziness that went into this. We have one light here, camera that was brought over the ocean, camera that was brought over the ocean, camera that was brought over the ocean. All this set up here, another fancy camera here, the guest of honor, and then some notes I have. I also did a backup recorder here, because you never know. There was nothing left to do. There was nothing else I could prepare. I just had to do it. I had to start the interview. Okay, I'm gonna fix my hair here, so I gotta look fancy, right? As good as possible. And then we're gonna get started. So, I'm gonna keep Grandpa quiet here for the very beginning, and I'm just gonna read a little bit of it. So that's it. 3 hours later, we did it. I'm so happy I did it. Something that I think is pretty important, and I'm really happy I did it. He's just one of those special people that you probably won't meet. I learned amazing things about like World War II, his relationship with my grandmother, and his thoughts like about life in general. He has lived for 97 years. What was the Blitz like?
Well, it's the Blitz.
Yeah. Yeah.
If your name was on the bomb, that was it.
He actually said at the end of the interview he enjoyed it so much. He said it was kind of one of the best memories he's had recently. And I felt the same. And then that was that. I hugged him. We had a drink. And the interview was over. We had his birthday the next day, and then I flew home on Monday. So how's my feeling about all this after it's done? I think it turned out to be a pretty good interview. However, I'm sure a dog would perform an equally as good interview with my grandpa just because of how powerful, how amazing of a person he is.
Marching, big parades, and that sort of thing. And my sergeant, he was a nice chap, although he shouted a lot, but he used to say to me, he said, "You Gurgle," he said, when we got to the big parade, he said, perhaps you don't mind saying not going on the parade.
Oh, boy.
So I used to spoil the whole drill. I could get it wrong. So I'd turn left, I'd turn right. I couldn't automatically do what they told me to do. It's very strange.
But yeah, I flew back to the US, I edited the footage, and uploaded it to a place where my relatives could all see it, and they were pleased. I love my grandpa very much, and I'm so lucky to have spent this extra time with him. A memory that is not only ironed into the internet, but is now ironed into my brain. A memory that I will never forget. Thank you, Grandpa, for an amazing 3 hours, and thank you, Grandpa, for being the best grandpa a kid could ever ask for. But if you made it to the end of this video, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you on the next one. What have you found that have been the greatest contributors to having a good life? A good 97 years, if anyone's ever lucky enough to get to year 97.
I think being interested in things.
Yeah.
I'm always interested in things. Taking an interest in whatever you do. And I've been lucky with my health, presumably. What else can I can't say. Being interested in people. I'm always interested in people.
Yeah.
I love listening to people talk. I like to hear people talk.
You do.
I love to hear people talk.
It's really nice, actually. It's a really nice thing you do. Because a lot of people, they just talk to people and they think, what is the next thing I'm going to say? What is the next thing I'm going to say? And usually it's, what is the next thing I'm going to say about myself? But you're always interested in other people.
I love to.
It's great.
Being interested in people, I suppose that helps a lot.
Yeah. But it's not fake from you either. You can tell it's a genuine interest that you have in other people. It's amazing.
Oh, great. Lovely.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Here, let me give you a hug. That was awesome. Thank you so much.
Oh, I'd love to be with you more. Wish I could.
No, this is amazing. This is amazing.